something about, this is not an ideological opposition.
No, but you're again not answering my question. I proceed to ask my question a third time. Does the Cabinet Committee on Security, have information regarding the viability of the project?
Mr. Raja and the BJP voted against the bill. This is why
again you are answering your own question.
The arguments against what is being discussed today.
This is 2013, Sanjay Jha. It's not 2005.
Now, let me answer your question.
Please answer the question.
Have you, Arnab, have you read today the press release issued out by the Department of Atomic Energy? That answers your question.
Which answers nothing.
2 points that I would like to
Okay, no, which answers nothing. I am asking, no, one second. Does the press release of the Department of Atomic Energy, 1 minute, does the press release of the Department of Atomic Energy,
it addresses the question.
Does the press release of don't tell me what question it addresses. Does the press release of the Department of Atomic Energy make a single reference to the Cabinet Committee on Security note and the fact that viability has not been got for a project for which approval is sought from the CCS? If there is, then I challenge you on live television tonight. Show me where.
You have answered
show me where. Show me right now. Show me right now. Show me where that reference is.
Please don't interrupt me.
No, but you show me where the reference is.
Let me tell you, have you read the last... Arnab, you're drowning me out. The Department of Atomic Energy press release says that the discussions were all about pre-project services. We are not talking about any deal between the Indian government
you are so wrong.
Nuclear Power Corporation with Westinghouse. These are pre-project services. We are possibly talking about techno-commercial feasibility projects that have not even started. So currently, whenever a government is going to engage with a large multinational company that deals with nuclear reactors, you don't just say, I'm going to do
rubbish. That's complete rubbish. But I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why.
You rightly mentioned yourself.
No, that's complete wrong.
Environmental, safety, all the other considerations.
Okay, now let me ask.
And the Department of Atomic Energy press release says there will be no compromise done with any of the laws enacted in Indian Parliament.
And what is your definition of no compromise?
It also repeats
do you want to listen?
1 minute. No, 1 minute, which means that the law will be adhered to, which has been passed in Indian Parliament. And thirdly, it also says
you are not passing
for any project will be given or received by the Atomic Energy Commission and the Government of India. So I think you cannot get more categorical and explicit than that, Arnab.
Mr. Sanjay Jha. Mr. Sanjay Jha, let me tell you, you have been wrong on about 10 fronts there. But before I come to you, let me get Nirmala Sitharaman.
Well, I mentioned 3. I can't be wrong in 10.
Well, you are wrong on all the 10 fronts which you made. To your own question, because it appears to me you have not had the pleasure of seeing the Cabinet Committee on Security note, which says clearly, and I quote once again, given the paucity of time,
you need to respond to what are the facts on the table at this hour.
Mr. Sanjay Jha, have you seen the Cabinet Committee on Security note?
Can I ask you?
Have you seen the Cabinet Committee on Security note? No, 1 second.
Because you are possibly commenting on a Cabinet Committee report which may have nothing to do with the US, but negotiations with partners in Russia and France.
Mr. Jha, again you are wrong.
To do with any particular
Mr. Jha, you are wrong.
General clarifications.
Mr. Jha, how many times will you be factually wrong? Correct yourself and control yourself. You are referring to the liability report. That has got to do with France and Russia. I am talking about the Cabinet Committee on Security report, which you have not seen, which is related to Westinghouse in America, which you have not seen.
It is about
so you are going by partial dollops of information given to you by someone who has not given you complete information. So Sanjay Jha, you're factually completely proven wrong tonight. The fact is, this note, have you seen the note? Answer my question. Have you seen the note?
Yes, I have.
And what does the note? I don't
have it in front of me right now. I have.
I'm sure you have.
And let me also tell you.
I'm sure you have. You watch Times Now.
You should read the latest statement made. You should read the latest statement made by Mr. Donaldson as well, who was relevant, who was part of the government team that signed the nuclear deal. Now, let me tell you.
Mr. Jha, let's get the others in. You are not. It's clear to me. It's clear to me that you are completely unaware about what the government is doing to Section 17 of the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. I'll come to that later. Nirmala Sitharaman, why the tearing hurry? Nirmala Sitharaman of BJP, why the tearing hurry?
You are making an inference.
Why the tearing hurry? Nirmala Sitharaman, give time to the BJP, Sanjay Jha. The Congress can't take all the time.
So you have no reason to challenge them at all. 1 minute, the government of India has said that it is not amending the law at all.
Mr. Jha, I'll just tell you one thing. If you keep speaking, it doesn't.
Madam.
Just answer the basic question and let's get the BJP in. Because I have asked you a question. See, what is now happening is, Mr. Jha, I ask you a question 6 times. And 6 times you don't answer the question. I'm afraid I'm going to have to move on. Nirmala Sitharaman, why is the Prime Minister in a hurry?
I did.
Yes, the Prime Minister seems to be in a hurry, undue hurry, and particularly on two major issues related to this act which has been passed in the Parliament. One is on the viability and the other one is on the liability issue. Section 17B, I think every political party during 2010 worked very hard to get it on board and then get the bill passed. Now I would expect, and anybody in this country would expect, that the government would in letter and spirit follow it. But if there is a dilution because the way in which the rules which are being laid out to implement this act is itself going to dilute that section 17B, and from the Attorney General the kind of input which has come out in the public domain also, if the step towards taking recourse is being denied or left to the option of the operator, it defeats the entire purpose of having spent that much of time in bringing in 17B, so that the operator's liability, those who are supplying material, their liability, are all going to be lost out if we are not firm on keeping in line with the act which was passed. Suppose through the rules that are being followed, framed for this purpose, you're diluting it and reducing the operators or service providers or even the transporters' liability. It is going to come back to a situation where, unfortunately, if you have a situation somewhat repetitive of Bhopal gas tragedy, God forbid, but if it happens, you will have the Indian taxpayer paying the victims and the relief will be provided with our own money. But actually, you will be like in Anderson's case, letting go the operator or the supplier or even the service provider scot-free.
G. Saundarajan, let's
this undue haste.
It is very clear. It is very clear now.
Yeah, Mr. Saundarajan.
It is very clear. It is very clear now that the government wants nuclear Andersons to come to India, test their untested reactors on Indian soil, and if there is an accident, they will put them in a special aircraft and fly them out. Indian lives have become so cheap, we have become so worthless. And in this government does not have any concern for the Indian lives. These shameless people were doing a lot of mud handling on the people of Kudankulam. The American NGOs are funding the protest, and they are. No, it's a fact. You have not got the environmental impact assessment done. You have not done the viability analysis done. You have given you go ahead on the liability front. So what more do you want? This is
my dear sir, that's precisely what we are talking about. A pre-project service means trying to do the service. This is not signing the deal.
No. And
I don't think you have understood when you sign.
No, you are confused, Sanjay. Sanjay, you are now confused.
Explain to you. When you sign the deal,
1 second.
do all kinds of stuff.
Don't interrupt him, Sanjay. Just 1 minute.
It's not like starting a kite shop.
He didn't interrupt you. 1 minute. Yeah. Let him complete his point. Complete your point, Mr. Saundarajan.
Yeah, but give me a chance to respond to
Arnab. Just 1 minute.
No, I'm saying that
government to come up with a statement.
No.
Arnab, let me just finish my line.
Okay, Mr.
Please understand, Arnab, AP 1000 reactors are nowhere in the world. We are being made lab rats. Our Indian lives are being lab rats. There are two places where these AP 1000 reactors are being constructed. Two places in China and one in Walgati. All these places are inland places. If at all, AP 1000 reactors are going to be installed it's the world's
I'm not even on an ideological point.
No EAA has been done. No environmental impact has been done. They have been claiming that Engineers India Limited has done that. EIL is not a capable organization
Mr. Saundarajan,
to do the environmental impact. Nothing has been done.
Mr. Saundarajan
has not been done.
Mr. Saundarajan, on a limited point tonight, American pressure has worked, is what I infer. In December 2012, the present Foreign Minister of India, Salman Khurshid, said India will not bow down to US pressure on the liability issue. He said the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act has to be interpreted by our courts. Our courts are not subservient to an international organization, and he said we'll not bow down. In July, John Kerry came. In August, there's a secret note. Liability is diluted. In September, the Prime Minister goes to America. Few days before that, the Cabinet Committee on Note, which I now have, says we can't wait, we have to change the law. I ask tonight, who's the Prime Minister of India, John Kerry or Manmohan Singh? And was it not a bound promise that the point now is political, Mr. Raja? Mr. Raja, the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act was passed by Parliament after serious discussion and debate. Section 17 was incorporated, which was safeguards as per the will of the Parliament of India. Now, by changing it, aren't you disrespecting Parliament? Aren't you disrespecting the mandate of all political parties? I mean, as politically speaking, Mr. Raja...
Now, who's changing the law?
1 second. The law is being changed.
I think
I'll prove it to you.
Presumptuous.
Mr. Raja.
Who's changing the law?
Mr. Raja.
Who's changing the law?
You don't know? The law is being amended. 1 minute, Sanjay Jha. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
The law cannot be amended unless it goes through Parliament.
Definitely the civilian liability for...
No,
allow me to speak, Mr. Jha. Allow me to speak, Mr. Jha.
No, let Mr. Raja speak and then I'll come to you. The Attorney General's opinion is that the Attorney General has given that opinion. Yes, go ahead.
Let me speak out. Arnab, you asked me, let me speak out. The Civilian Liability for Nuclear Damage Act is an act of Parliament. Now what government is trying to do is to undermine the act of Parliament and to do things behind the back of Parliament, not taking Parliament into confidence. Some people may think I am taking ideological position. Yes, as left, I have an ideological position. But I am asking today, through you, the Congress party, what is the enlightened national interest about which the Prime Minister goes on speaking? Now the government has become a big suspect because government is not honest and straightforward. Government is not only succumbing to the pressure, it is willingly succumbing to the pressure. There is tremendous pressure from US and French administrations. It is a known fact to the not only to India but to the whole world. But why India is willingly succumbing to that pressure? What is the national interest involved? Let Prime Minister answer, let Prime Minister tell the nation and the people what is the national interest by doing all these things.
You see, what was 17B? Now, I just want to, the point here is I want to just inform our viewers. There was a rule, 1 minute, Sanjay Jha, allow me. Sanjay Jha, 1 minute, let me tell you so that you don't mislead anyone. The point is simply this, that Parliament explicitly wrote into 17B of the law to ensure that foreign nuclear suppliers don't go away scot-free if there is a nuclear accident which is traced back to the equipment or material with patent, defense or substandard devices. In other words, it's there at the bottom of our screen right now. I want to explain it very simply to our viewers. This was written in Parliament, so Parliament and parliamentarians debated and they said if there is an accident tomorrow, the supplier has to be held responsible. Now, what is the change which has happened? For some mysterious reason, which even Sherlock Holmes will not be able to solve, the Prime Minister government decided, let's get the Attorney General's opinion before the Prime Minister goes to America. And the Attorney General says, if the operator chooses not to incorporate such a provision in the contract, he may not do it. In other words, the Attorney General says that the company called NPCIL, which is the government company, may decide not to follow up. So if the government decides to let the American supplier scot-free, then the government can. In my view, that is a repudiation of what was in Parliament. Nirmala Sitharaman, in my view, that opinion of the Attorney General is dangerous. 1 minute. It's dangerous.
Yes,
because that opinion, goes against the grain of what was agreed on in Parliament.
Can I just come in for a minute?
Yes, please do.
Sanjay Jha may be correct in saying, oh, the law is not being amended. Maybe the law is not being amended. But the rules which have to be framed to execute the law are being framed in such a way that the letter and spirit of the act itself is getting diluted. If 17B has to be definitely followed, you can't leave it to the operator, even if the operator is a government-owned operator. NPCL is the Nuclear Power Corporation India Limited, but then they wouldn't have the authority to say you can or you cannot, you may or you may not add 17B into your agreement. How can that be? So the rule is framed in such a way that it may contradict the law itself which has been passed. Ultimately, the rules will have to facilitate the execution of law in true spirit and letter. If
And
the
who
letter and spirit
and
of the
who
law
opposed?
is
Who
getting
wanted
diluted
17B
because
changed?
convenient rules
No,
are
no,
being
no, no.
framed.
Who wanted
And
17B
convenient rules are
changed?
being-
No, who wanted
just a minute.
17B changed? I place on
Just a
record.
minute. And-
General Electric wanted 17B changed. The American businessmen wanted 17B changed. They were the ones who said that if the liability law stays the way it is, we will not pursue this business. We cannot take that kind of risk profiles. I'm asking tonight, Mr. Subramaniam, an American company.
Can I speak
One
now?
minute. After Mr. Subramaniam, an American company cannot take that kind of risk.